When you hear great classics, you're hearing KSLX, KOPA, Scottsdale, Phoenix.
Last week, the Phoenix International Raceway in Arizona welcomed the world's top Formula One driver. The car and track he was putting to the test were completely new to him.
Formula One world champion Nigel Mansell shocked the racing world last year, quitting his winning team to join America's answer to Formula One, IndyCar racing, the fastest race series in the world.
IndyCar racing is big in America. The 16-race season pulls in more spectators than any other sport. Nigel Mansell is used to driving Formula One cars on road courses that twist and turn in different directions and cars that are more manoeuvrable. Some Indy courses are ovals, fast circular tracks, which mean you can only turn in one direction. British cars have set the pace on the Indy course for years, but a British driver has been missing. Could that be about to change?
Hello, Nigel.
Hi, John.
The last time we met, it was in Portugal, but
you were on holiday again, weren't you?
The sun hopefully is coming out. How does it compare?
Oh, it's you can't compare it really. I mean, as you've seen yourself, I mean, it's so different. I mean, you've only got sort of left-hand turns, no right-hand ones, and you got a lot of banking on corners 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and it's very different. I mean, the average speed is very high, but it's exciting.
What about differences in the car?
Well, I mean, setting the car up for an oval, I mean, it really does look like the car's been in an accident before it goes out the pit lane, because the wheels and tyres are all leant over, and the steering wheel's all sort of about 15, 20 degrees turning left already. And if you were to let go of the steering going down the straight, the car would turn straight away left into the wall. The car is set up to turn left totally.
Right. You're doing your practice laps, you're almost touching the wall coming down there.
Yeah, well, we weren't meant to. We had a few exciting moments coming out of 4 a couple of times. There were some motorbikes here yesterday and it's a little bit greasy. But I mean, we've got within, I think, 1/10 of the track record here.
Going round in a circle 200 times.
Yeah. Get dizzy.
You must.
Yeah, I mean, I'm having to get used to that. There's a lot of G on the side of the head all the time, and you know, you're doing laps as we did, as you saw, sort of, you know, less than sort of 21 seconds or under 22 all the time. Mm-hmm. And that's tough. But in the race, you do slow down when you're in traffic to 24, 25-second laps, and that gives you a bit of time to breathe. I need all the room for myself at the moment, so I mean, put another 25 or 28 cars on the track with me. I mean, that's going to be very difficult.
Here you are with a British car, British design, British engine, and now the British driver, the final link in the chain.
Well, it makes you proud, doesn't it? I mean, it's super, really. And a couple of the mechanics are from England too, which is great.
Do you see a day now, because you coming over to America, that you will maybe bring the sport to Britain and have an IndyCar race somewhere in the UK?
Now that would be a dream, wouldn't it? I mean, if I could do it this year, I mean, that would be absolutely sensational.
And onto the track to see how the expert does it.
Right, we start off down the straight. The man up here is usually in the box there with the green flag start. And literally you have to gun it, or put the gas pedal down, or go flat out, whatever. And then you come into turn 1, which is this one. You try and stay in the middle of the road and come down low and try and go around here as quick as possible. And you're already up to about 170, 175 miles an hour. Here you've got to be very careful not to hit this wall here, you see. That wall does jump out at you. You get close to it. And the incredible thing is coming down into turn 3 is now you enter this turn totally flat out without a lift if you're going quick. And here is very daunting. You just slide out towards this wall here and you just try not to hit it. And then you got to try and stay up a little bit on 1. And then what you've got to do on 1 is just get it right about here. And then turn it in. And then try and come down on the corner. But then when you hit this bump here, then it throws you out. And you see a bit of smoke. And you have to be real careful not to do that.
So you don't want to do that then?
You don't want to do that, you see. I thought I'd just show you what you don't want to do.
Right.
Chief Race Engineer Peter Gibbons is responsible for the car.
England is the hub of motor racing, really. It's a British engine, British chassis, British electronics, British wheels.
What's American? You're American.
The team.
The course is 200 laps and Nigel was gradually working up to race length and pace. It's an endurance test that demands as much stamina as an Olympic runner.
20.8, did you get that? No, we didn't get that, Nigel, over here.
He's just beat the lap record with a time of 20.63 seconds. That's one lap of the circuit, 1 mile in distance, an average speed of 178 miles per hour. That's fast.
At the moment, Nigel is breaking records racing alone. The test will be doing it against all the other drivers.
So to compare like with like, you better put that whole front wing back on. Roger, good.
Nigel, you've
Thanks, John.
just broken the lap record. You're blazing a bit of a trail. Congratulations.
I'll tell you, that was a fantastic lap. That really was. I mean, 20.6 and now the quickest ever time in Phoenix, PIR. So, no, I mean, just shows how great the team is.
You must be pushing really hard out there.
Oh, boy, I mean, well, it stood at 20.9 and in winter testing people have gone 20.8 and 20.75. But, I mean, that's in ideal conditions. And, you know, here we are today. I mean, weather's great, but it's not ideal grip for the track. 20.6 I'm happy with.
Are on road courses, the other 6 on ovals, uncharted territory for Mansell. This race is currently the only Indy event outside North America. His mission today, 65 laps of this tight twisting circuit. That's nearly 182 miles. After his electrifying performance in the qualifiers, he's in pole position. But unlike Formula One, it's a flying start in IndyCar, so stand by for fireworks. Your commentators, Dave Despain and Guy Hobbs.
Pace car is off, green is down, and the 1993 IndyCar season is underway. And a great move by Emerson Fittipaldi, and indeed, there goes Paul Tracy right with him alongside Emo. Tried the move, couldn't get by. Fittipaldi leads from Tracy, and Mansell from the pole slips to third. Everyone working safely through that chicane, and you were exactly right. Tracy took a shot at him.
Tracy took a shot at him. Emo was alongside him, got ahead of him. Not used to the turbocharged lag, of course, which they experienced on the start there, and is used to going from a standing start instead of a rolling start. Maybe he has a little problem too, because already we see Robbie Gordon up alongside him.
Indeed, Gordon makes a quick move around Mansell, and the world champion and pole sitter has been relegated to 4th spot. Perhaps he's gone back there to look for Mario Andretti, who runs in 5th. Mario's suggestion to Nigel about learning how to race Indy cars was, quote, "Follow me." Maybe Nigel's planning to do that.
Yeah. And if he doesn't think these drivers are aggressive, he's very wrong. You see him there putting a little blocking maneuver on teammate Mario. I wonder what Mario says about that.
Out front, Fittipaldi opening up the advantage, and a great move by Gordon up into 4th spot, driving for the legendary A.J. Foyt. The rest of the field working through in a moment right there.
That is the Robbie Gordon. What was he doing back there? And that is number 19, Jimmy Vassar, coming into this series.
There's your top 5.
Nigel hoping his debut in IndyCars is a lot better than Michael's in the Formula One series. And if you don't think Nigel Mansell's a draw, at Laguna Seca last year, they had a core of about 35 international sports and motorsports writers that would never normally be at the events. And it was just because Nigel was going to be appearing there, looking at the cars. This was right after he announced he would be driving.
Problem on the pit area, and on pit road is the
Mark Smith, the Californian.
Smith. Yeah, with a mechanical problem. And
here we see Nigel going past Paul Tracy, who locked him up going into that left-hander.
And I'm wondering if Tracy may have a problem. That was a nice move by Mansell, who reacted and took what was given to him. But the question now must be, what of Tracy? As he certainly missed the entrance to the corner. Take another look. Here he comes sliding in. Driver error.
Yeah, the nasty lockup there.
And as you point out, once you skid those tires, you run the risk of flat spotting. And so this, we'll see the first of the Penske cars to slip backward, as Fittipaldi has dominated this race since the outset. He took the lead going into the first turn and has not yet surrendered it. He has been challenged the last couple of laps by Robbie Gordon, and now a problem.
Paul Tracy in the pit lane area.
Tires? No, I think there's something else wrong with that.
Maybe electrical. When they wave it off like that quickly, you know they've got a big problem.
I wonder if his shunt over there, or near shunt over there, wasn't caused by whatever it was that brought him to a stop here, because clearly that car is done for the day. They made no effort to try to fix it. So it's an early departure, and that leaves Fittipaldi alone.
And he'll hear that over his radio from team owner and manager Roger Penske. He'll know that Paul Tracy is out. It's obviously a small problem, but enough to put him out of the race. And now Fittipaldi's got to hope same thing doesn't happen to his car.
Again, the ride with Nigel Mansell, and you get some sense for just how fast they travel through the streets of Surfers Paradise.
And in this chicane, this is where Gordon, he really hits that curb and gets some air underneath that left front side.
Mansell's going after him as they move down into the left-hander. He has the position and has the spot, and Gordon gives way relatively easily.
No point getting caught in any confrontation if you're running for second or third position.
Well, Nigel has been up and down the ladder now, hasn't he? Started on the pole, went all the way back to fifth, and now in part through his own aggression on Robbie Gordon, and in part through attrition that has taken out Paul Tracy, he's back up into second spot. This is a great look out the back of Mansell's car, and you begin to really have a sense, I think, particularly through these chicanes, of the pounding that the suspension takes here. This is not an easy circuit on the automobile. It has suddenly become a three-car battle. You get increasingly frequent views of Robbie Gordon pressuring a pair of world champions, and here he comes, and you've got to wonder now how the kid is going to handle this opportunity. Will he try to barge on by, or will he be content to sit here in the international spotlight for a moment?
I'm sure it'll be, Robbie Gordon's not one who's shy of the spotlight, that's for sure. Very nice young guy. I've worked with him a couple of times, and I've been out and met with him and stuff. Nigel locking him up with a big time going into the left-hander, but he gets the position. But Emma fighting back.
What a move by Nigel Mansell. Just as we predicted he'd run it cautiously, he elected to go in there, lock him up, slide her in, skidded right past.
And now Robbie Gordon looking to have a go as well.
Fittipaldi had slowed a bit. It appeared his pace had dropped. Look at the pass.
That is a serious lockup, Nigel. That's called flat spotting the tires.
17 laps down, Mansell leads it over Fittipaldi, Gordon, Andretti, and Leyendijk. That is, of course, Mario Andretti. Michael is off to the Formula One wars. Mario's teammate, Nigel Mansell, is leading his very first IndyCar race, having started from the pole. He fell back to fifth early on. He warmed the tires. He let the likes of Paul Tracy use up their cars and go to the sidelines, and he has now emerged as the leader after a dramatic pass. All in all, it's just been a spectacular day for Nigel.
Coming up fairly soon, we should have the first round of pit stops, and of course that is where a race can be won or lost. Last year, the Gallus team proved to be a great pit stop crew, as did Bobby Rahal's team. Bobby Rahal's team won the pit stop awards. There we see Nigel ducking into the pit lane.
Pit stops. Mansell will make his first IndyCar pit stop. The Newman-Haas crew go to work for quick service. It'll be tires all around and a tank of fuel. Mansell surrenders the lead to Fittipaldi, a refueling for the driver as well as he gets a cold drink. Everything appears to be in order. Quick, and he's back underway. Nothing wrong with that.
Not quite true. Mansell was called in early for violating the overtaking rule on the yellow flag when he passed Fittipaldi. So now he's in trouble. A pit stop down on the rest of the field with Surfers Paradise. A mixed start for Nigel Mansell. An early lead disappearing after he broke the yellow flag rule. Now it's lap 20 and he's dropped down the field.
Mansell got back on the racetrack in 5th spot. Fittipaldi leads from Gordon with Andretti 3rd and Lyondike now being shown in 4th spot. 5th is Mansell after his pit stop. The other 4 drivers are still about to make their first stop as they try to find a way around the lap.
Oh, they both go into the pit lane. Fittipaldi very quickly into the pit, and he'll be at the very end. The Penske team always pick the far end.
Emerson Fittipaldi, the race leader on pit road. Gordon has sought out the A.J. Point pits as well. The first and second place cars are stopped, and that should give Mario Andretti the lead. And who's going to win the race out of the pits? They leave about equal. Gordon got down first, but he's at the other end of the road, and they're going to go out just about the way they came in.
Not for long. Nigel Mansell fought back immediately, getting past Fittipaldi to take 3rd place. With Mario Andretti and Dutchman Arie Luyendyk taking their first pit stops, Mansell moved up to 1st place with 22 laps gone.
Nigel Mansell, 3rd on the all-time list with 30 Formula One victories. 9 of those came last year, a record for a single season. He also had 14 poles driving for the invincible Williams team. And he says, indeed, one of the things that intrigues him most about IndyCar racing is the fact that there's this kind of competition from the likes of Emerson Fittipaldi and Robbie Gordon, who pursue him from 2nd and 3rd. It's not just a technological exercise. It's a bit of hand-to-hand combat between brave men and fast machines.
And the other thing he said he liked about the Indy cars again, too, is the fact that he is driving.
Mansell back in the pits, and this would seem to be early, but again, his first stop was early, and everything routine as Mansell gets 4 tires and fuel and exits the pits in a hurry. He has surrendered the lead, the first of the leaders to make his 2nd pit stop. Nigel Mansell will fall back into the running order approximately 4th or 5th. And now here's Nigel Mansell making a move, and Mario says, I'll have none of that, but Nige comes right back up the inside and faked him just like he was an IndyCar rookie. It really took the measure of Mario there. That was a great move.
That's where we're seeing a lot of overtaking at that spot there, and Nigel went for it again. Didn't lock them up this time either.
It was clean. It was nicely done. I mean, he effectively just moved Mario over with the fake to the outside. Mario went for it. Nigel said, thank you very much. Dived down to the apex, made the pass. And here you see the moment of truth.
And, of course, Mario, being the ultimate racing driver, didn't want to turn in on him and, of course, take any chances of busting up his car or teammate Nigel Mansell's.
As Fittipaldi leads it, Gordon runs in 2nd spot. Mansell is 3rd, Andretti 4th. Lyondike rounds out the top 5. That with 40 laps in the book of 65 that will comprise the race distance. Still a good ways to go here.
Nigel back in 3rd. And of course, Fittipaldi and Gordon, the leading 2, still had to take their 2nd pit stops. They went in together. Fittipaldi emerging quickly. Indeed, he roared back into 2nd place behind Nigel. But Gordon stalled, falling back to 4th. But bear in mind, they took their 2nd pit stop some 25 minutes after Mansell's. So although the Englishman is back in front, will he last the pace?
Mario's not yet stopped, nor has Nigel Mansell made an extra stop, if indeed that is to be his fate. But remember how long ago it was that Nigel Mansell stopped, and just now the leaders are coming in. So I think it's inevitable that Mansell's going to have to make one more stop. This should make Nigel Mansell the leader.
Chiva getting it all wrong at the chicane. Oh, is he lucky not to make contact with Guerrero?
I don't know if he got it all wrong or all right. He passed a couple of people going through there. He just took a different line.
He also messed up the suspension a bit and locked it up coming into there.
He was very lucky that he didn't hit anybody. No chance to save it. He'll go straight through the gravel pit and say, look out, guys, coming through here.
Oh, I bet Guerrero's like, whoa, where's this guy coming from? You're not allowed to do that. Got a lot of gravel and stuff on his tires there.
The fuse is lit on the red 5 because he's got to race away from this field by a large enough interval to allow him to make that extra pit stop, then get back out on course, if not in the lead, at least close enough to the lead to be able to pull off his first ever IndyCar victory. And that's going to take a bit of doing here. We're inside 20 laps, 18 to go. So the strategic pressure right now is all on Nigel Mansell, and I would think he's a man capable of rising to that occasion.
I think so. I think you'll find what he's doing is trying to build up enough of a lead so that when he does make his pit stop, which will probably take about 20 seconds because they will be the first pit, and then he can come booming out, get a good run down the pit lane and come out at full speed. I think we'll see him make that stop at about lap 55 with about 10 to go. Just get a splash. The whole pit stop, by the time he comes to a home, gets going again. The actual putting the fuel in won't take 20 seconds. The whole pit stop will probably take, well, less than 20.
As you watch Mansell working his way past Scott Goodyear, he has no time for the traffic here. He must open up all the margin he can over the second place man, Emerson Fittipaldi, to allow himself time to make an extra pit stop for fuel.
And that's what he's doing right now.
He's on pit road. This is the final and pivotal pit stop of the 1993 IndyCar Series opener. 6 men over the wall for tires and fuel.
Skipping tires. They were prepared to change them, and then they have not changed the tires. They decided not to. It's going to take too much time, and he's obviously happy. He wants warm tires, and he thinks he's going to hang on and be good enough to get him to the end.
You heard the crowd go crazy for Nigel Mansell. I wondered as we saw the tire changers go over the wall, because certainly the strategy at this point would be to get fuel and get back out there, but those tires do have 10, 12 more laps on them than do those of the now leader, Emerson Fittipaldi.
They may go away. He has managed to come out of the pits in front of Emerson Fittipaldi, I believe.
Fittipaldi working his way around now in pursuit of Nigel Mansell. So will the strategy, will the gamble pay off? It'll be very interesting to see how the last few laps unfold.
So we see from inside Bobby Rahall's RH001. Bobby Rahal, of course, a good golfer and big golfer too. I'm sure he and Nigel will be having a few matches off the track.
This is a spirited three-car battle that has been going on now for about 10 laps. Rahal wants to get around Emerson Fittipaldi. Meanwhile, he's being challenged, and that is for position by Eddie Cheever. The situation is this. Emerson Fittipaldi, now 15.5 seconds behind the leader, has clipped a couple of seconds off Nigel Mansell's advantage, but that's not enough to make any difference. Then come the 2-lap cars, but they are the 6th and 7th place cars of Bobby Rahal and Eddie Cheever, and they're having a ding-dong battle for that position, and right behind them is the 3rd place man, Robbie Gordon, who wants to get up there and get around Fittipaldi. Three laps to go. I would expect that the potential for a desperation move here somewhere in this quartet is getting rather high.
I think Robbie Gordon in particular is probably getting somewhat irritated at Cheever and Rahal. Obviously, they're not going to let him through. At the end of the year, it could make a huge difference on the points. But I think he's getting kind of bothered they won't let him by so he can go and dice it with Emerson.
They are on the last lap. And red 5, Nigel Mansell, is about to put into the book the first rookie victory for an IndyCar driver. He'll be the first IndyCar driver to win his first race since Hill in the Indy 500 back in the 60s. And I think more importantly, he will have justified the worldwide interest in this series that his presence has created.
Not only created a great season, I think it's going to be a fantastic year this year, 1993 in the IndyCar Series. with Paul Tracy. Robbie Gordon, if he's going to perform like this every week, is another factor. Sullivan's had a bad day, but he'll come back. Allenson Jr., Ray Hall, Emerson, there's a bunch of guys that can win every single race out there this year.
Look how close these guys got. Their four-rider scrap has carried them close to Nigel Mansell.
Ooh, I think Gordon looked down the inside there, no?
He sure did. He had a notion, but Nigel Mansell backed off the pace and will finish just this much in front of Emerson Fittipaldi for second. And Fittipaldi will...
Yeah, Robbie Gordon did get by, and now he's looking down to get past Emma. He's right on him.
He'll take a shot at him, too, on the final lap. That is the battle for second and third. Rahal fell off the pace on the last lap. Here is the local favorite getting a huge round of applause from the Australian fans. Gary Brabham heading for the checkered flag as Nigel Mansell prepares to take the checker and complete his first IndyCar race with the ultimate success. Who's going to get there first? Will Gordon take a shot at him? No.
Not close enough.
He didn't get close enough. He didn't get around Rahal quickly enough. Rahal, crippled at the end, will come home with a sixth-place finish unofficially. But there is Nigel Mansell circulating to the accolades of the Australian fans. And so he begins anew what he finished here in Australia last year. There's the big wave. A happy, happy Nigel Mansell has won his very first IndyCar race. And he's out of gas. And so by just that much was he barely able to make it. 39-year-old Nigel Mansell. A perfect race is when you get it just past the finish line.
I don't know. That's all sweaty.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
You bet there'll be a lot of hesitation about grabbing that souvenir because it's got Nigel's sweat on it.
That limping you're seeing him doing, that's because of, as you mentioned earlier, had bone spur removed from his foot.
Yeah, that foot hurts, I guarantee you. He's got the IndyCar shuffle. The final results of the season opener, Nigel Mansell wins it from Emerson Fittipaldi. A great ride for the youngster Robbie Gordon carries him to third. The veteran Mario Andretti is fourth. Harry Lyondike, with a consistent drive all day, has finished fifth. Bobby Rahal, the defending champion, sixth. Cheever comes home with a little help from a friend after a seventh-place drive today. Boiselle got to eighth. Teo Fabi ninth, and Scott Goodyear, after an early shunt, came back to finish in 10th spot.
So that's it. A great start to the Indy season for Nigel Mansell. Join us next week for Nigel's views on his first race and a preview of his first oval race in Phoenix.
And Nigel Mansell gets behind the wheel again next Saturday at the slightly later time of 1:40.